Yeah, I'm texting you and everything. So all it
Right.
took was my magic guitar to handle all the technical difficulties. So someone in the room said that your name means unique.
That's true. That sure
Uh-huh.
does.
All right, so you're a young guy. I read
Hmm.
your bio. You're a passionate guy. You don't sleep for a few days at a time because you're passionate. You don't want to miss a pip or a move in the market. So
Yep.
tell me about your unique experience, Anmol, when you first got into the industry. What was the catalyst that drew you into trading, FX trading? Did you have mentors? Who do you blame for not being able to sleep every night?
Well, I think I started, trading in my university. So we were just talking about trading, and I mean, there's really no story as to how I got in. It's just mainly because I wanted to make some money. So
Okay.
I would love to have a story, which is like, oh, I had a deep passion about trading, but it
Yeah.
was mainly about, we know that the money is there. It's a $1 trillion market, and then stock market's also like there's so much money to be made. So you know that there's money in it, and how can I get a little piece of that? That sort of motivated me. And even while I was in college, instead of going out to parties, I was in my dorm room trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work, and
Cool.
why am I taking my profits so quickly. That was the biggest issue I had for like for host
I
for.
still have that. I still have that. And I've been at it for over 30 years. So, interesting. When I started, a veteran pulled me aside and said, "Kid, this is a tough way to make an easy buck."
Yep, it
And
sure is.
he was right, wasn't he? So, tell us about how it was for you when you were in the dorm, when you should have been studying or working on a term paper, and you were
Mhm.
looking at charts on FX. Who influenced you? And it sounds like you're a self-taught guy. And tell us about the process of before you really started having epiphanies. And you mentioned one issue that you had was, I call it first daylight syndrome. You have a little money made and you take it, and then the easy money comes 20 minutes after you get out. So how did you overcome that?
Well, it took a lot of a lot of time to finally get over that issue, and I think mainly how I overcame that was just setting some sort of accountability and some sort of consequence. So, when we get a job, right, in any profession, you get a job, you have a boss, you have accountability, and you have consequences. So if you don't do what the boss says, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to have consequences, right? You can get fired. You can lose your job. Whereas with trading, since it's such an entrepreneurial venture, we are our own boss. So there is no boss. So what happens is it's hard to get accountability because there's no consequences, right? You can mess up a trade.
Have you ever fired yourself?
Oh, well, I haven't fired myself, but I've set like different sort of accountability because if you don't set accountability, you can easily just close your computer, go back to bed. No one will ever find out what a stupid mistake you made.
Okay.
So what I used to
Do you
do
do you
was,
do that with a journal, with a trading journal, to kind of imprint on yourself the things that you're doing right, the things that you're doing wrong?
oh yeah, I mean, I used to make videos and nobody watches. Nobody used to watch that when I was, just starting out. It was random videos on YouTube, just posting my trade reviews, and I didn't care if anybody watched or not. I made the videos, showed my statements, everything, made
Yeah.
those videos, and regardless of anyone watches or not. And that said accountability. So there was this guy in college. I hated him. Okay, I said, hey, here's give me your account details, give me your PayPal details. Every time I make a mistake, I'm gonna send you $50, and I hated that guy, and I had to send him $50 like so many times. And I said, you know what, I can't make this mistake anymore.
That
Right?
is great. Okay, you
Yeah,
are unique. Yeah, I've never heard a story like that. In order to be
exactly.
accountable, you found
Yeah,
someone you really disliked and didn't want to pay, so
yeah,
it drove you to become better, so you didn't have to pay the guy.
exactly. And when I was dating this girl in college, I used to make sure I slept on the couch if I broke my trading plan.
Okay. All right. So, you know, they say a picture speaks 1,000 words. You're with at live_traders.com. Is that the company?
Yeah, just livetraders.com or livetraders.net. No,
Okay, because your handle is at live_traders on
yeah,
Twitter.
that's the company handle. My personal handle is at Delta90 in letters, Delta90.
Okay.
So
All
that's my
right.
personal handle.
Okay. So, do you know how to screen share in Hangout?
Let me see. I'll
You
figure
go
it
up
out.
to the upper left-hand corner. There's a green box there with an arrow,
Okay, hold
and
on.
you click that.
Okay. Um,
Maybe we could take a look at your setup, and you know we have the
sure.
NFP coming up here. A lot of major moves in the market. Interested in what you're seeing and what you're thinking.
Right. So hold on. I'm just gonna try and see if I can share the screen. So like this time, I do a couple things. You know, I swing trade 4 hour, 1 hour chart on stocks, and then at this time of the day, stock market opens up. You know, 9:30 to 10:30. I also trade some day trade stocks. So from 9:30 to 11:30, I'm day trading stocks, and then after that, I'm just scanning for setups and see what currency pairs are setting up. But I'm just gonna try and get my screen share up here so you guys can see
Yeah,
that.
so you hit that, then it'll show a desktop and then start. Beautiful. Okay, so we're looking at CAD Swiss,
Right.
unusual
So
pair.
yeah, so one trade that I just closed out a couple minutes ago was the Aussie New Zealand dollar, and let me show you here. So this was the breakout that I traded. You right here.
Yeah,
So you see this downtrend line come and failed here once, twice, three times, four
right.
times, five
Nice
times, six times.
triangle.
Yeah, and then when it finally broke out, right here is where I took the long. I
Uh-huh.
bought this currency pair, bought a couple lots, and then I sold it on this pop back into back into this
Previous
this
high
resistance
was your
area.
target.
Yep. Yep. So right here was the target. Stop loss was right under here, and so a little bit of stop loss. Sold it about 2.5 to 1 type of trade.
Okay, because it
hmm
looks like by the width of the triangle that it would have more left in it.
Oh yeah, probably does. So what I'm looking to do with this one is that when it pulls back, so let's say it pulls back here, okay, then I'm going to try and buy that dip again, and then aim for new highs.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going to look to do at this point. It could definitely continue higher. I might not get any entry at all, but that's what I'm going to be looking to do.
Okay. Your view on the euro? A lot of people saying we're finally going to get a full-blown retest of the 104, 105 level. I'm looking at your Euro 4 hour. God, that looks like a reversal about to happen there.
Yeah, maybe, but like I actually had a pretty good short. You can already see my executions marked here. So I sold this currency pair right here, as you can see, and then I covered into this drop here. I got a little bit early, I guess, but that was a 3 bar, nice drop for me to cover into.
Can you
So
go
I think
back to the first chart that you showed me because it looked like there was some type of harmonic pattern
the
from the
Aussie New
top of
Zealand
the. Huh?
or the Aussie New Zealand or the euro.
Yeah, I think it was on the Aussie New Zealand, and you
Okay.
had some. Not sure if that was it. Maybe it was higher. There was some type of formation you had above it. It was may have been the Swiss, the pound Swiss, the first one you showed.
Okay. Let me hold on. Let me try and
I,
get that.
I'm just curious as to what that was. The first chart you showed. No, I can't find it now.
Right. I think it was CAD Swiss. So
Oh no, there it is. What's that?
that's a CAD Swiss, Canadian dollar, Swiss franc.
Yeah,
It
but
is.
I'm talking about above in the center of the chart. Looks like you have some type of pattern up there. You know what I'm talking? You know where I'm pointing? I can't put my cursor there for you to know. It's
Right.
in the middle of the chart on the upper end.
Oh,
Red
here.
lines. Yeah, that stuff. What is
Oh,
it?
that stuff is just MetaTrader being MetaTrader being crazy. Some lines just left over. See, that's the thing with technical traders. We can always find a pattern with anything.
Okay, now they're saying that they can't see your chart. How about now, guys? Can you see it now? It's okay now. All right.
Mhm.
All right. So, I thought I thought it was some type of crazy harmonic
No, no,
pattern or something.
something just get
Yeah,
left
it looked
over.
like an Etch-a-Sketch.
Yeah.
So, okay, so why don't you walk us through your process and certain things that you look at? I mean, you have no indicators, so you
hmm
trade naked.
hmm
You're mainly trading price action, completely price action. Are
Right.
candles important to you?
Well, candlesticks are on its own are not important, but what I'm looking for is just the patterns to form. So I mean, I could change it to bar chart, and I could still be
Okay.
trading the way I do because I'm looking to trade with the trend line. So for example, on this one, right now I don't see much of a pattern, but I could say, okay, here's a little trend going on here. So the next pullback is probably going to happen in this zone. So when it happens in this zone, you could probably look to buy that dip into that trend line. And then usually what I do when it pulls back is let's say I get in, I let that candle close, and then I'll probably put a stop loss a couple pips under that, and then I'll target either the prior high or the brand new fresh highs. So usually the reward to risk happens to be 2 to 1, 3 to 1, sometimes bigger. For example, the Euro trade. So you can already see my executions marked on the chart here. This is where I sold short and covered all the way down. So in this one, I was looking at a break of this support. I mean, it's not really head and shoulders, but you can see it's been acting as support. I mean, it finally broke it and retested, and then failed at that trend line. I sold this a couple lots, and then when it fell down, into, I would say, this support area, 3 bar drop, I just got out of it.
What do you do with it now?
Right now, I'm kind of neutral on it because I mean it could reverse down because it's so oversold into the support zones, but at the same time it could have further downside as well because you see here, this was our real trend, right? Held it once, held it twice, held it 3 times, and look what happens here. It tried to
Right.
actually hold it, right? Came down,
Yeah.
tried to bounce, but then it finally failed. So this is more of a a failure pattern. There is some support around here, but there is a possibility that we might want to test at least this prior support and the pivot line around 1.08.
108 is going to be
hmm
critical for that
Yeah,
case.
108 is definitely going to be critical because once that's gone, then there's nothing until 107s.
Okay. So let me ask you this: why do you trade stocks in the morning and FX in the afternoon?
Well, FX I like to trade on the hourly 4-hour chart, so I'm not that active. I'll probably take 6, 7 trades a week, right? Five
Okay.
to seven trades a week I will take based on the 1 hour, 4-hour chart, and then I pretty much I'm a set it and forget it type of trader on forex. So I'll get in, I'll put my stop loss, I'll put my target, and then I let it ride. And end of the week I'm happy because some stops out, some work, but the winners are always 2 to 3 times the losers, so you end up making money every time. Stocks I trade in the morning because there's just so much potential. Market moves are pretty good. You can literally make, let's say there's a stock with some fresh news, it's gapping up or whatever is going on. Stocks offer a lot of opportunity in the first hour to day trade, and
I see.
that is where I actually specialize. Where take $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 right in the first 10, 15 minutes, and then I just call it a day, and I open up my MetaTrader, find some setups for forex, set it up, and pretty much leave.
So you trade U.S. stocks or the
U.S.
DAX?
stocks, U.S. stocks only. So, like for example, I mean today it hasn't been that great. I only took one trade, which didn't really produce. OCN had a long, it popped up, didn't work. I got out, and right now I'm just chatting with you, not really trading. But U.S. stocks only, Nasdaq and NYSE stocks.
You do anything with commodities or commodity currencies?
I do, occasionally do gold and oil. That's about it. But I don't trade any other.
You have a view on those?
Yeah, gold. I've actually been short since a long time, but now it's looking like the trend might be. I mean, it's already went up quite a bit, but gold I'm just trading macro. So, for example, I mean, let me show you my other setup here. If I just minimize that. Oops. Share my
Where do
screen.
you trade from, Anmol? Where are you? In the
But
UK?
right now, yeah, right now I'm pretty much moving around. So I'm moving to New York in 5 to 7 days. I was in London for about 4 or 5 years, and now I'm gonna move to New York in about a couple days,
Oh,
8th
wow.
of March. Yeah.
Well,
So
okay, you better hurry up before Trump gets elected.
exactly. Exactly.
Huh? Well, so tell
Exactly.
me, what do you think about that rhetoric you hear from the guy?
Well, I mean, I think it's more for show. I don't think he really means anything. It's more like getting media attention. He's a PR genius,
Yeah.
so that's probably about it. But at the same time, I when he announced his election, I was actually pretty good. I was like, that's pretty nice. Finally, someone different, and something different is going to happen around. So I actually liked it when he initially came around, but then the stupidity just kind of got overboard with it, and now I'm thinking
Yeah.
like it might be like a
Now
like a
you're
fake
hoping.
news.
Now you're hoping Hillary Clinton gets elected.
I actually hope no one gets elected, but
Well, you
none
know
of
what?
them are
That could.
actually
That we're only one terrorist attack away from that happening.
exactly. So you never
Yeah.
know.
So yeah.
But all right. So the
All right. So
gold trade,
let's. So you macro, you're still bearish gold.
not now, but what
Okay.
happened was right now. This is the ETF that tracks gold,
Yeah.
the
GLD.
GLD. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this one's at 170. So I sold it short to 170, and I covered half into $100, which was the target. So covered half into 100, and I'm still holding a half position, which I have a stop loss lowered now right into right above these highs here.
Okay.
So if
So
it breaks that
you think?
high, I'm
Yeah.
gonna cover it, but it's gonna be one of my pretty big trades because I've been short this since 170, and now it might finally be breaking this trend line. So might have to flip
Yeah.
it long if it breaks that.
Okay. Interesting. View on crude.
Crude, still I would say guilty until proven innocent. I mean, look at that
Okay.
drop right now that just came on the U.S. So this is the ETF that tracks
Right.
the price of oil. I mean, I've been short this one as well since all the way when it broke support here, covered
Mhm.
half into the drop, then re-short into this bear flag, covered into the drop, but then I didn't short here,
Right.
which is a mistake. But now I'm not long it, I'm not short it, but I would say this that it's forming a sort of a rounding pattern, right? It's
Yeah.
sort of rounding down in here.
I'd like to
So
see one more, or yeah, either a right shoulder or one more low. I like,
yeah,
I'm known for three drive formations. Like
nice. So yeah,
Mr.
exactly.
Three
So
Drive.
this is the trend line that it's holding up. So it needs to
Yeah.
really break that area for it to go higher. If not, it can easily reverse back down. I wouldn't be surprised if you make
Okay.
new lows on it.
So I understand from the way you talk, you trade your own account. What do you
Mhm.
do for What do you do for this company, LiveTraders.com?
Well, so live traders, we do a couple things. Number one, we teach people how to trade, right? And number two, we teach them the strategies, everything. And number three, people can watch us trade live. So all these trades that I'm taking in Forex, so I'll show you here. We have a live trading room, which is actually run by one of my other, one of my friends and the person who works for us. He runs the live trading room for Forex. So he day trades Forex like 5-10 trades a day, and he trades it live in front of everybody. So in this, and then I run this service, which is the Twitter service. So you can see here, I posted the AED entity trade that I was just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So I posted here, taking profits half. Target was hit out while I was sleeping. So I mean, I give everything. Stop order here, stop loss here, target here, and it's set it and forget it. Like really passive. Aiming for 300 to 700 pips a month for this swing service, and then the day trading one is run by.
What's the monthly subscription fee?
It's only $97, which includes both the trading room and the Twitter account. That's as far as the Forex service is concerned. And then for those who are looking to trade stocks, in stocks I'm a bigger trader than Forex. So stocks I trade more heavily than I would Forex. Forex is more like passive for me, whereas day trading stocks is more active for me. So the stock service is 147, which has me and two other traders every day. We trade live, sharing our screens. Audio is always on while we're trading, so people can hear us and watch us while we're trading live. And if you see me lose $2,000, you get to see that live. If you see me making, $5,000, you get to see that live. And I think that's the really great educational experience because you more than the winners, you got to see me when I lose, right? To see how I handle psychologically.
Okay, and have you come to the place where you don't make any one trade too important? It's just another trade, win, lose, or draw.
Everything is now really systematic. So
Okay.
for both forex and stocks, it's super systematic. I get in, I put my entry stop loss, and then that's it. And I'm usually buying the same lot size in each trade, right? So for me,
Okay.
it's all about making the pips, right? You know, stack those pips, and
Okay.
that's what it's all about.
So you're mainly day trading. You wouldn't have a more of a macro view on what's happening in indexes, would you?
Well, macro V I do because I do macro trading as well. I run a fund with one of my colleagues, so we run a fund where we manage some people's money. So in that one, we do more macro style trading, you know, aiming for 25, 35% a year. So in that style, right now, you know, as far as the markets are concerned, if you're talking about the indexes, take a look at the spiders, the S&P 500 ETF. I mean, right now, recently, it's been looking like it's trying to find a bottom, but I somehow am still not convinced. I think 2016 is going to be a bearish year, and we actually sent that out in the newsletter as a short, the S&P 500 right about here when it broke that area, broke it, and since then it's never got above. And even now that it's popping, you know, it could easily run up to 202 on the spiders and roll back over. So I'm
Okay.
still in the camp of if you're a macro trader, sitting on hands is probably the place to be at this point in ham. So be in cash when the market, you know, maybe has another dip. You can invest your money if you have a macro view. But as far as buying the market or buying stocks right now, I would be a little bit cautious. And personally, I'm going to sit on the sidelines, wait till confirmation.
Okay. And what would give you confirmation that we might have one more new high left in the S&Ps
Well, if
based
it's
on the spider?
about one more new high, it needs to take out, you know, on the Spiders ETF, it needs to take out 202.
So that's
Um,
2020 in the S&Ps.
yeah, yeah. So it needs to
Okay.
take out that
Yeah.
area if it's going to be macro bullish. And what happens is if you're trading macro, try not to get influenced by these one or two big green days, right? People see these
Yeah.
big one or two up days, they see it on CNBC stock market rallies, blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and then they try and get in. And usually, you know, that's pretty much the high. So if you're macro, don't watch it on a daily basis. Don't even look at the daily chart. Look at the weekly charts. Look at the monthly charts. And at this point, the weekly chart is actually not that bullish at all, because you can see here, this was a pretty nice trend, right? We broke that trend. We even rallied up, retested, and failed.
Right.
And so now this could easily just be a lower high forming here. Market rallies into there, and then we roll over again, sort of like a pattern that sells off all the way back down here. So
Well, you know what? My philosophy is Mr. Market's a real mean guy,
mhm.
and that markets will shake out as many participants as possible before the move they're looking for happens, then most likely without them. And I
Yep,
think there's a shot for 2,200, so that would be 220. And all
right.
the bears will be gone. All the bulls that puked at 1,800 will think they have an all clear, and then maybe we have problems. So,
Exactly.
the
So
market will do whatever it can so that, I'm sure there are a lot of stops above the highs in the S&Ps. The bears they're already beginning to capitulate. So that's
100%.
just a guess. It's a Noster Pinker call.
Right. No, I mean that's 100% true because when everybody's looking at the same thing, usually that's not the direction that things
Okay.
fall into.
So you were showing the guppy, and now you're showing the uh, euro yen. So
hmm
you're looking for new lows in euro yen here?
Yeah, probably now because it had a little fake breakout above the trend line
Right.
and then
Right.
didn't close above it, and now it's back down. So this one's probably going to continue lower.
Yeah, that
But
would
one
be a
thing,
third drive down there.
yeah, exactly. But and then I was looking at the euro pound as well. It's coming into support. So for me, I'm really particular with the setups. I actually like just those simple trend line setups. So for example, the one we were just looking at, I think it was the Aussie USD. Nope. Let's see. Anyway, I'm mainly looking for trend line rejections, trend line bounces, because those, like for example this one, right? This one I missed right now, but the pound Japanese,
Yeah.
right? So here you can see
The
how it broke this
beast.
trend line.
Yeah.
So it made a higher low right above the trend line, and then it finally broke out here. So that would be one of my signals to go long. I would
Uh-huh.
go long there, place my stop loss right here, right? Place my stop loss right under
Oh, you
these
missed it,
lows.
right? You missed
Yeah,
it.
this one I missed. This one I missed. So I would
I
put my
miss
stop loss.
trades every day. How about you, buddy?
every single day.
That's,
And I think it's not possible because if you're not missing trades, you're not scanning hard enough.
yeah, good point. That's a pearl. And you know, I say to people, get used to it. You're going to miss trades every day. The good news is there's always another trade.
Exactly. I mean, there's always another trade. Like, I mean, I'd rather, not be in a trade, wishing I was in, than being in
Yeah,
a trade wishing I was out. So you gotta have your criteria. And the only thing I can tell retail traders who are trading from home, trying to get started, is to just make a strategy. Like trade one or two or three patterns and get really good at them, rather than one day you're looking at someone teaching you harmonics, one day you're looking at someone teaching you price action, one day someone's teaching you some indicator, and you're just bouncing from one place to another. To
yeah,
find one thing, everything works in trading. That's the biggest realization I had. In
yeah,
trading, every single thing works. You just got to make it work. You got to have a strategy for that, and you got to do the same thing over and over. So I trade pretty much the same stuff. Trend line breaks, retest of the trend lines, rejection of the trend lines. I play those every time. Risk reward is always 3 to 1 or 2 to
What do
1.
you tell people about leverage?
Leverage is good if you know how to use it. I use a ton of leverage, right? So even my stocks trading account, because we have a little hedge fund where we actually give people our money to trade in terms of in place of profit split. So some new
Oh,
trader
like a
might come in.
prop trader.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, something like that. So what we do is we give people, let's say, $75,000, $100,000, $500,000, and we take 30%, 20% of the profits. So leverage is good if you know how to use it. So leverage is bad if you have no strategy. You're just jumping in, and your goal is to become a millionaire overnight. Then it's not a good strategy. You're gonna lose it
yeah,
all.
okay,
So use it responsibly. Like never, like you can use leverage to trade, but never risk that amount, if that makes sense. So you might only intend to lose $100 in a trade, but you might use a ton of leverage, right?
okay. So how old are you now? How old are you?
I am 24.
Okay, so you've been at it for about what, 5 years?
I've been at it for about 5 to 6 years.
Okay.
2010 is when I started trading right in college, and I
Okay.
think that was probably the best decision I made because the first year didn't make any money, and now that I started young, it gave me a lot of freedom, right? I didn't have
Yeah.
too many expenses, didn't have anybody, any children or wife or anybody to take care of. So first year I could really survive without making any money, and second year is when things started to really kick off and really scale big time.
Okay, so I would say I've interviewed a couple hundred people in the live analysis room over the last few years. You have a lot of trading maturity for having done this for 5 years. So
Yeah, I mean,
very, very
market definitely
refreshing.
does that too. Market definitely does that too.
Yeah. So congratulations on having a successful journey. I mean, sounds like you're everywhere. You have a signal service. You're managing money. You're doing it all. You're going to New York. You're living the dream. Congratulations to you, Anmol. And
Thank you.
Mr. Unique Singh, and wish you success throughout 2016. And the best way for people to follow you is on Twitter at Delta90, spelled out,
Hmm.
and you work for www.livetraders.com.
Yeah, thanks. And LiveTraders.com is actually a company that I founded and started last year.
Okay,
So
so good. Okay. All right,
yeah,
well,
so
pleasure meeting you.
same here. Thanks for having me, and I wish you all the best for your trading as well.
All right, thank you, Anmol. Good hunting. You're now Dale Pinkert's trading warrior brother. Congratulations on being young and successful at the same time.
Thank you, and I wish you all the best.
All right, buddy.
All right, take care.
Thank you.